Hello and welcome to another edition of Net Insider. My name is Chris Gibbons. Net Insider, of course, the program that gives you the news behind the views behind the news from the world of information technology. Asset management, not just in the world of information technology, but in business generally, is a major problem. And the show today, devoted to a company called AIT, which claims to have invented a revolutionary new technology which will deal with the problem of asset management. Let's get a sniff of what AIT is all about. That is the company, ladies and gentlemen, but what is the breakthrough technology? Well, very simply, it is a gadget which is placed in the back of your computer. This is a receiver which goes into the serial port of the computer, and it talks to a transmitter. The transmitter sends a signal which says to the computer, shut down and stop working. Net Insider always likes to test these things in real time. It's one of the things we're famous for on this particular program. So before we get to the panel of guests, I'm going to ask for a volunteer to see if this thing actually works. There's a young lady in the front row. Would you step up here, take the transmitter from me, and walk away, and let's see if this does what it is supposed to do. Please take the transmitter, walk right away from us, and if we can get the camera shot in on the screen here, I'll just move that. What should happen now is this screen switches off. The computer locks. There it goes, ladies and gentlemen. This computer is now, according to AIT, absolutely tamper-proof. Let's try it, shall we? I'm pounding on the keyboard. You can see that. Nowhere am I getting in. Let's bring it back and let's see if the gadget switches the computer on. The young lady with the transmitter is approaching. If it's going to work, it'll work any moment now. Let's get close up on the screen. There it is. Thank you very much indeed. A round of applause for our volunteer there, please. The Linkit Orbiter is the name of this technology. Let me introduce the team which is bringing the Linkit Orbiter to you, ladies and gentlemen. From left to right, we have Dani Lavahan, who is Marketing and Sales Director of AIT. Then Michael Victor, Chairman of AIT. From the United States of America, Jeff Jarvis. Jeff is Vice President of Business Development at Access Incorporated. And last but by no means least, the man who styles himself simply Inventor, Terry Ashwin, the inventor of Linkit's technology range. Panel, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the demonstration of the product here on the Net Insider. I'd like to begin with Michael Victor. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, Michael, of the technology and how it works, tell me a little bit more about how it came about and about AIT itself, how old the company is, about your team.
2.5 years ago, I met my friend Terry Ashwin, who I hadn't seen since we started off as young men in the Air Force. And he told me that we had a very interesting product that he'd like me to come and have a look at. I went to him and had a look at the product. Was immediately very impressed and decided to go with it. We started with a very small team. worked with 4 people for just over 18 months, and then the last year I brought a whole team of people on board, and Dani Lategan, Dani Bischoff, and the rest of their team, and we've taken the product from basically a prototype to where we have today, where we believe that we actually have a generic technology that is now ready to be marketed.
Why is asset management so important?
Well, asset management is, we feel today, one of the most important bits. The only 2 things that you have in a business are your personnel and your assets, and that basically makes up the entire resources of a company. We're having a lot of problems worldwide with assets being moved, assets disappearing, and also the loss, not only the loss of your hardware, but also the loss of your data. So data protection is obviously also of prime importance, and we believe that our product is able to solve both angles of this problem.
New technology comes and goes and goes and goes and goes normally out the back door and has your data inside. Let's bring Terry in at this point. Tell us in short how it works, what's involved. We all know that radio communication has been around for some while, and I assume that this is a radio device. What's so special about the orbiter?
Well, I think its simplicity makes it special just on its own. To describe the product simply, the actual ID tag continuously just emits a unique identification, and the receiver receives the identification and passes it on to electronic medium. This means that you can now electronically identify things instead of having to visually read a number or with a barcode, physically read the barcode with a barcode reader. You can on a cordless basis now identify people, assets, etc., and hence the computer electronically identified the owner of that card, and that gives you the security that once you've got that card, your computer, your data is safe, and no one can tamper with it.
Simple technology, but what about patents? How protected is it?
We have at the moment 9 patents. They're filed in various manners and in various countries.
How secure is it?
That's an interesting subject too, because you have encryption coding processes, and the way we came about the method of protecting the data was a sort of 2 o'clock in the morning discovery of not applying thought processes towards known ways of muddling up information. Simply put, what our tag does is every time it sends its signal, it ages itself, and hence the data is never the same. So if you take an actual tag today and you call that tag Terry, tomorrow it'll have an age attached to it, and you can't reproduce that.
We have the receiver, we have the transmitter, but obviously inside the machine there is software. How complicated is that?
The software is relatively simplistic. The receiver is microprocessor based and passes information into the computer in a reasonable format for the computer to just collate the information. And we have written software that allows other integrators to take it further.
Okay, I'd like to bring in Jeff Jarvis at this point. Jeff is the Vice President Business Development, as I said, from the Access Corporation in the United States, one of the newest suppliers of RFID. RFID, Radio Frequency Identification, an acronym I didn't know. Wireless communications, in other words, the wireless tracking of people and things. Jeff is on a short visit to South Africa to discuss trading opportunities with the AIT. Jeff, welcome once again. Why are you so interested in the orbiter system, and do you see potential for this technology?
Thanks, Chris. I'm interested for selfish reasons. It's a new electronic identification technology. It's the best that I've seen on the horizon for electronic commerce and anything in the near term. And our company investigates active systems that will read anywhere from a few centimeters up to maybe 35 meters. This is exciting because it addresses access control not just on the asset level, but the information level as well. What's exciting to me is a conversation I had earlier with Michael. in which he talked about the possibility of production runs maybe even as early as this year. Access certainly hopes to be one of the conduits for this technology to come in the United States. That's not been set yet. But I had mentioned earlier to him, I can think of about 8 million orbiters that we could use in an application for retrofit over the next 18 months, and probably about twice that in some applications over the succeeding 18 months. So we're interested because it's new, it's unique, and because we have an immediate demand for it.
A potential production run of 8 million is, even by United States standards, quite large.
Well, it's certainly interesting.
How big could that market be, do you think?
You know, I'm not gonna, I think that's an unfair question. But I would say something between large and huge.
Okay, yeah, so you want those assets to stay inside the building rather than walk out. Mike Victor, let's get back to you. I'm sure you looked at the international market when you embarked on the development of the technology. What's the kind of interest that you've received?
Well, we launched the product in early March at the Securex exhibition here in South Africa. To mixed reception, not as big as we'd hoped for. And we decided to take the product to Birmingham to the FSEC show, which is an international security show, which is very, very well attended. The response we had was overwhelming. It was, in fact, far beyond our wildest dreams. And that was when we really realized, obviously we realized that technology is interesting and that we'd had a product, otherwise we wouldn't have thrown the money at it. But we got to a point where we now realized that we had something that a lot of other people were interested in. So we've followed up all the leads and met with all the people that we've got involved with there. We've now opened an office in the UK, just outside Birmingham, and we have 3 signed distributors in the UK, and some very large potential orders in the next couple of months. So the international business is obviously very interesting. Obviously, the biggest one, of course, is the United States. And so the US market for us is the real cherry because of the number of consumers. We've spent some time with a number of US companies, and we now believe that we will open an office in the US. I believe we will open an office in the US within the next 2 months, and the potential is absolutely enormous. We do have some very, very large potential customers.
Products go to market. Let's bring in the man who is going to be doing the marketing and the sales, Danny Latachan. Danny, this is a technology launch per se. What's the main objective? What's your objective in this very distinguished gathering of folk? Why have you brought them here?
We have to date addressed the security market, and we thought we would invite our IT industry to this occasion. And we are very pleased that they turned out so well. We want to share our information and technology with the IT industry, and I am sure there are people in this crowd that will be very keen to join forces with us and to integrate the product.
I know that in the discussions we've had, you've been highlighting the benefits of the active nature of RFID in the context of Orbiter.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thanks. Active against passive. Why we like the active scenario is instead of shouting, where are you, the orbiter will shout, here I am all the time. So you have a very accurate, real-time information system that tells you exactly where is the tagged object and obviously the tagged person when we think of the broader context of our vision.
Technology, of course, has technology, but it also has people involved. Here I am with my transmitter, which is sending the here I am, where are you, here I am, where are you, signal to my laptop on my desk. What happens if I lose my transmitter? Mr. Inventor, what happens if I lose it?
We are going to supply the product with 2 tags per 1 receiver. And also when you configure the actual software into the machine, you can configure other users. So obviously your secretary can gain access to your machining. And then thirdly, what we've done is when you configure it, it gives you a unique passcode that will allow you access, but only for a limited number of times, 5 entries into your machine, until such time as you can purchase a new one.
So if my secretary has gone on leave with hers in her handbag, and I have lost mine, the password will get me out of it.
It'll let you in and allow you to use your machine 5 times.
Which gives me the time to sort the problem out with you guys.
To go buy a new one.
Or to tell my secretary to come back from leave.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Mike, it's fairly obvious that the orbiter is targeted at the computer industry for both the retrofit and the new computer market across a wide spectrum of industries. Do you have other applications in mind where the orbiter technology could be introduced?
Our main technology is being able to track objects, to track assets, to track people, to track motor vehicles, railway cars, pallets, containers, whatever. I mean, there is nothing that can't be tracked. We've actually identified in the 2.5 years we've been looking at this technology, we've identified in excess of 300 new applications that we've looked at. And every time we talk to people in a new industry, they have a new application for it. So there are a myriad of applications for this type of product. One of the major areas we're looking at the moment is that we're involved in 2 very, very large projects worldwide for what we call EVI, which is electronic vehicle identification. EVI is something that we believe is going to become a part of everybody's life, and that the number plate as we know it on every vehicle has been around for 80 years. Number plates, because they're just visual identification devices, really have reached the end of their life. They're fine as a backup, but people want to know now more about vehicles. They want to know who the vehicle is registered to. They want to know if the vehicle's stolen, and a number of other things. So for fleet management and all these type of things, there are huge applications as far as we're concerned in this industry. And as I said, we're dealing with 2 very, very large entities. One which is a big government entity, which is part of the European Union, and another one which is one of the 3 largest manufacturers in the world. So yes, that's what we have. The orbiter, as I said, merely complements our market and adds a new product to this asset tracking, asset management business. The third part about it, of course, is that the data security on this thing is very, very interesting. I mean, not only is it good that it's not, nobody can steal your PC, the other thing is that in companies they have major problems with people accessing information and finding out payroll information, what everybody earns, things like that, which cause big problems. So that's where we believe that this thing will go and take us next. The other thing is there's a lot of talk in the United States about allowing children to access different things on the internet. You can use a device like the orbiter to actually limit access to certain parties. You could have 4 people using the same PC, but some of them got access to more information than others. And the last thing really, I suppose, is we can even use the vehicle, on the vehicle side, is the orbiter could be even used as an immobilizer device. So, as I said, a myriad of applications.
Does our guest from the United States share that opinion? Your speciality, Jeff, is access control. Is there a possible application there?
Oh, definitely. I think the nice thing about this product, well, there are a number of nice things. 2 of the nice things about this product is that it enhances an access control system that's already embedded. So if you're going to add this, you're going to reduce your infrastructure cost in the long run by a fairly low-cost system where technology can come in and enhance what you already have. You haven't denigrated the sunk cost. The second thing it does, it lowers the back-end support cost. If you're going to put something in, you've got to support it. And if it's a simple system going in, a low-cost technology going in that shows long life promise, that's a gimme. In our business, RFID is to enhance or protect what the customer has as either an access control or a security system of any kind or an information security system. So the benefits are it protects the current environment, it adds major features at low cost, it keeps the access control system effectiveness up, and it pushes down the long end the life cycle support cost. You can't get better than that in a system. That's what all systems aim for.
Let's go back to the inventor. Terry, by the sounds of things, the software must be a bit of a challenge. Can you tell us a little bit more about the software and about the online applications? Would that be an unfair question?
Actually, no, it's not an unfair question. The software development is actually enhanced by the simplicity of the technology. Because the tag is a virtual product and is aging all the time, we don't have to hide a logarithmic secret as to how to decode it. Simply, this is the tag, that's its age. And you don't have to use a fancy formula like DES does or what some of the encryption codings do to actually find out what the data is. The mere fact is that this tag is this old, and it should be this old because you can predict its age. If I last received an email from you and the signature was your unit and it was at this age and now it's 4 days later, well, you can calculate 4 days and should be so many counts later. And that it is live and it's real. So every time it's transmitting, it's changing information. So the information's an open book. We don't have to hide it because you can't copy it. Unless you can copy it once, but then the next second you must recopy it. And then also we've put together special developer software packs and kits to enhance people to take the technology and develop it in the same way as what other companies have done. You don't want to compete with software houses if they specialize in certain applications.
So you are looking for integrators?
Most definitely. You know, with 300 applications, and there's probably 800 applications, you're not going to be able to fulfill all those software developments.
Back to the marketing side. Donnie, the positive experience overseas, the various exhibitions that Mike mentioned, how do you see the market developing for Orbiter?
I believe it's the right product at the right time. And you will have to keep a very cool head and not run away with all ideas. And so we're going to concentrate on selling the Orbiter system as you have seen demonstrated today, to allow volume to pick up so that we can keep our investors happy. And then to identify system integrators. I think that is our task over the next 3 months, to really see who in the IT industry are interested to run with us.
The right product at the right time. I never heard a sales and marketing man who ever said anything different. Let's cut to the quick on this. How do you intend to market the product? Market the technology, because that's really what we're talking about.
Yes.
It's a technology, it's not a product, and there's a difference.
Yep. We have existing distributors and we will use them, and then we will use the emerging distributors from the IT market to move the product. We want to emphasize we will not sell to the end user. We will not get involved with the end user. We want to be absolutely neutral in this regard.
Why is that?
I don't want to make enemies. I want to sell.
Mike Victor, this is all very impressive. I must say, Net Insider has rarely seen a product that works as cleanly and as clearly as this one, with such an obvious benefit. I think we must congratulate AIT and the team. I'm sure you're very proud of your achievements. And it's also worth noting that it's a homegrown technology, South African technology. Very important, that, I think. When will it be available? How much will it retail for?
The product is in final stages of industrialization right now. We're waiting for the molds for our injection molding and things like that. We expect to produce about 50,000 units in the month of November. The product will come to market fourth quarter of 1999. We expect to have product on shelves by the first week of December. So that's where we are as far as the product goes. And just one thing that you asked me about, I said thanks for the accolade and like that. We're very happy that you think it's a great product. We hope our customers think it's as great as well. But what I'd say to the customers, I was telling my guys that worked for me the other day, there's a famous Indian musician called Ravi Shankar who got a standing ovation after he'd been warming up on the sitar. And he said to the people when he'd finished, he said, well, if you liked my warming up so much, he said, I wonder how you're going to like my playing. And that's exactly where we come from. So we really believe that this product's great. The product's going to retail for about 399 rands and will be available in December.
Let me get this absolutely straight. $399 just before Christmas of this year, all being well, I will be able to go out and buy this gadget, install it on my computer as a standalone device, standalone installation by me, a layman, and that's it. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
Or I can buy 10 million and lock all my assets into Megacorp Inc.'s corporate headquarters, all 90 floors of it. All right. Well now, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the team from AIT, but let me just close this chap down. Night. There's a spare chair here, right beside me, as you can see. We have in the audience a mystery guest. And I would like our mystery guest to step up and to share an opinion or two with us here on Net Insider about the product. Come and join us. His name, as he steps up, is Don Small. He is the Vice President of Marketing and Business Development at the HID Corporation from Irvine in California. HID Corporation is the largest RFID corporation in the world. A big player from the big leagues. Don Small, welcome to South Africa. Welcome to the launch. What do you think about it?
Thank you, Chris, and thanks for the extravagant introduction. I'm here because HID is interested in the technology. We are leaders in the passive technology world, and passive means cards and tags that do not contain a battery. There's an inherent limitation with non-powered devices in the RF world, and that is that the read range tends to be very short. It would be simple to say, let's under a meter in this application. As you saw in the earlier demonstration, this technology is working at significantly greater than a meter, and that opens totally different market opportunities than what HID is currently playing in with our passive technology. With the development of all the applications for our passive products, has come now the application base to introduce active technology and further expand the product base, further expand the market. And so that's why I'm here to meet these people and examine the technology.
Give me some idea of how big the problem is of asset management in the United States.
Well, there's been a great deal of market research done on that. Of course, many of the subjects of that market research don't like to claim the exact nature or the depth of their losses. Published market research says that there is over a $2 billion loss rate of primarily laptop computers in the world IT market, and at least 50% of that is in the United States. So it's quite significant.
So a product like the Linkit Orbiter could put a serious dent into that $2 billion.
Well, the real value of Linkit is twofold. It puts a dent in the $2 billion, which was measured as hardware loss. But the secondary aspect, which cannot really be accurately measured, is what was the value of the data that disappeared? Because there's data on those hard drives. And that really is the compelling reason for the application of the technology. The secondary benefit, believe it or not, although it's the measurable one, is the hardware. But the primary value here is the securing of the data, because it's not only securing data on computers that might perhaps be taken or stolen, but it is also securing the data while that PC is in its place on your desk, and while you're not there. You're at lunch break, you're at coffee break, you've been in a meeting. Meanwhile, your computer is sitting there online, you've already entered your password in a traditional environment, and therefore your computer is now vulnerable to use or intrusion by someone else. And this solves that problem very nicely.
The kind of marketing projections we've heard from the panel, do you go along with those?
I believe so. HID is currently shipping over 20 million RFID units this year, and our growth rate is quite significant, between 50 and 100% per year. And that's with passive products that have the limitations, but the price point that is well known in the RFID industry. So the industry itself is extremely viable. The growth rate projections by the independent market researchers for the RFID market on a global basis say that in the next 4 years, this market could grow to between $2 and $3 billion from what today is a market base of something in the area of $500 million to $650 million. So there's quite a bit of growth opportunity.
And when it goes into the United States at the sort of price point they're talking about, around the $60 mark, is that about right?
That's a very good price point. There are competing products that don't offer nearly the price-performance ratio that this does, and they're operating at about the $100 US range today. And they are not presence detection, but they're log-on control products, which means that it still leaves your PC vulnerable.
You've heard also the security descriptions, some of the software descriptions from the inventor. You happy with the specs?
Well, I've spent a great deal of time on that because it's a fundamentally important aspect of the product technology and its application. They've managed to take a very simple principle and produce a very secure product from it, and that's very important for us. So yes, I'm quite happy with that.
So a final question for you, the spin-offs of this into other industries. We've heard Mike talk about motor vehicles, things like that. You go along with that?
Well, those types of, especially motor vehicles, fleet management, vehicle identification in general, are not well served by passive products, and because of the read range limitations. So to have a simple, cost-effective, active product such as the IoT technology definitely enables those markets to grow. There are existing markets with existing applications, so there's plugs to plug the gear into, and I think those are going to be very high growth opportunities for AIT.
Don Small for that assessment. Thanks for joining us here on Net Insider.
Thank you very much.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Net Insider, ladies and gentlemen. We are out of time. There you have the product, the Linkit Orbiter is its name. You saw it demonstrated. It works. You've seen not one, but two key American players here in talks with AIT about this exciting new South African-born technology. It's going to be a winner. Take it from Net Insider. Thanks for being with us, and goodbye.